It's the end of winter. Soon, deep in the secret of our countryside, numerous babies will be born. But right now, the future parents are obsessed by one thing: finding a safe place to raise their young ones. The rabbit kittens will grow up in the unsuspected depths of a burrow sheltered from predators. If all goes well, the owlets will be born in this abandoned dovecot where their parents took up residence. Anxious by nature, the foxes have visited several dens before choosing one. But is their choice a wise one? From early spring to the end of summer, we will peer into the intimate lives of the little fur or feather balls about to be born. We will share in their parents' moments of stress and tenderness. Spring has swept away the winter harshness. It took the animals just a few days to regain possession of every level of the prairies and undergrowth. The first babies are born. For the owlets, wild piglets, and fox cubs, it's just a matter of hours. After 50 days of gestation, 4 fox cubs are born. They weigh around 100 grams. They are deaf and will open their eyes only 10 days or so later. During the first 2 weeks of their existence, these newborns are fragile and vulnerable. They monopolize their mother's attention. They need her milk, as well as the warmth of her thick fur. Their fleece is still too fine. Without their mother, they would die of cold. The baby that just woke up is having a hard time reaching the teats. But it's ready to do anything to get there. Every time the pups are finished suckling, the vixen repeats the same ritual. She licks their genitals. Without this stimulation, they cannot do their business. Whether deep down in a burrow or out in the open, all births happen away from prying eyes. This also goes for wild boars. Away from the herd, in the hollow of a thicket, a wild sow is catching her breath. After a 3.5-month gestation, she's just given birth to a litter of 8 piglets. So as to withstand the morning chill, wild piglets need to store the precious calories provided by their mother's milk. Each one secures a teat that it firmly defends against its siblings' greed. These incredibly smart little gluttons are already on their feet. Right from birth, wild piglets are resourceful, unruly, and particularly wearisome for their mother. Truth be told, she is completely exhausted. Leaving the maternal lair is out of the question for the time being. With barn owls, Dad flies back and forth ceaselessly to feed his mate. She hasn't left the brood in a month, ever since the last egg was laid. Two featherless owlets, head almost as heavy as their body, have come out of their shell. There is no time to lose. The mother must gather them to keep them warm. She must also help them raise their head to swallow their first beakful. These owlets weigh only 15 grams. They're not really the cutest babies around, but with such a rich diet, they'll soon grow feathers and change in appearance. In 2 or 3 days, a new egg should hatch. By spacing out her egg laying, The barn owl is better able to distribute her younglings' requirements for food in case of shortage. The fox cubs, owlets, and wild piglets were all born near a clearing frequented by sheep and European rabbits. Other animals were born there as well, such as this young fawn, which is taking its first steps next to its mother. Animals born out in the open air, such as fawns or piglets, must be swift and alert. After a week spent under their mother's paws, the wild piglets are pawing at the ground. At last, they can launch into a wild chase. Their striped pajamas are very eye-catching, but their mother won't let anyone approach them. During the first month, the sow also keeps them apart from the rest of the herd. At 2 weeks old, the owlets have grown a white down. They've multiplied their weight tenfold, and their father has no other choice but to hunt day and night. Hunkered down in the bottom of their den, the fox cubs have become furrier. The most daring cub has already explored every nook and cranny of the burrow. Thanks to their fur, they can now keep each other warm when their mother goes out hunting. But a mother who leaves her young alone is constantly on the alert. Foxes and owls know the best hunting grounds. They also covet the same prey. These babies are not ready to face the outside world. Yet the boldest one in the litter has decided to follow his mother's tracks. He doesn't measure the risks yet. This unknown world seems to hold many promises. His mother did indeed pass through here. She left a powerful olfactory print behind. Close by on the other bank, the vixen has perpetrated a string of predations. It's time to go back to her young ones. The cub hasn't yet learned that nature is paved with traps that can't all be avoided. The vixen smelled an unusual scent outside the den. She picks up her pup's scent, but quickly loses it. Its olfactory print vanished by the river. Every year, despite all the precautions the parents take, many cubs don't make it to adulthood. European rabbits excel in one field: the art of discretion. So as to avoid bringing unwanted attention to her progeny, the doe digs a nursery burrow that is undetectable to the outside world. Who would suspect that 8 tiny kittens are peacefully sleeping below ground? Their mother has built a cozy mattress with hair pulled from her ventrum. In the next 4 to 5 weeks, they will have to make do with furtive visits from her, no more than 5 minutes a day, the time it takes to suckle and be groomed. before she goes back outside to feed. Avoid too many comings and goings. Make sure to conceal the entry to the burrow. These are the best ways to keep any curious predator away. These kittens weigh no more than 40 grams now, but thanks to their mother's milk, they put on between 5 and 10 grams per day and grow very quickly. Raising owlets requires a great deal of energy. These little disheveled and grumpy scarecrows are never sated. Their ceaseless whistling will force their father to go hunting before nightfall. This perched castle is one of the barn owl's favorite hunting grounds. Its vantage point offers a clear view of the gardens and passages where mice and voles abound. But for a few weeks now, other rodent lovers have invited themselves onto its hunting ground. Falcons have built their nest right on the ramparts, and the vixen has also become a frequent user of the site. As well they should, because once the doors close, they won't be troubled by any visitors. Foxes are incredible trackers, gifted with unparalleled hearing and sense of smell. Attracted by the scent of the rodents coming out of their dens before nightfall, the vixen doesn't know which way to turn. This mouse just had a narrow escape. They won't all be as lucky. Remarkably patient, the owl is still posted on the other side of the ramparts. To save energy, it will leap only once the prey is either identified or once it hears it rustling in the grass. The owl flies silently and can catch its prey by surprise before it can flee or hide. The dovecot where the owls nest is less than 1 kilometer away from the castle. The starving owlets are just as impatient as ever. But this time, their father doesn't seem in a hurry to deliver the prey. And it's the smallest one who is fed first. It can swallow it whole without worrying about digestion, because in a few hours, it will regurgitate a pellet of bones and skull. With so many beaks to feed, the hunt will last throughout the night. This time, there is no letting the small raptors just gobble up their meal. Their mother is teaching them how to delicately dissect their food so that one day, they'll know how to feed their own fledglings. Unlike their missing brother, the fox cubs have spent the first 5 weeks of their existence underground. Tired of exploring its den, one of them has decided to peek outside. The cubs have changed. Their fur has taken on a reddish color. Their ears are peaked, and their muzzle has grown longer. Their eyesight and hearing have sharpened. They are now able to perceive the world. However, despite their curiosity, they'll never dare venture far away from the den. The cubs still have a lot to learn before they launch into an exploration of the world. But this is not true of all babies. For some, immersion in nature can be immediate, because parents often force their progeny to become self-sufficient as early as possible. This is particularly true of rabbits. At 3 weeks, the doe decides to leave the burrow open. The time has come for them to go outside and stretch their paws and get ready for adulthood. By imitating their mother, the kittens learn to taste their first plants and to mix with other members of the colony. They only have 3 months to become self-sufficient. The weaning period has also begun for the wild piglets. At 3 weeks, the little gluttons are still gorging on their mother's rich milk, but not for long. It's time to discover another diet. The sow is no longer willing to let them nibble at her teats. And it's useless to insist. Over the next 3 months, they will have to learn how to do without their mother's milk once and for all. The piglets will round out this vegetarian meal by nibbling a few insects and snails here and there. The piglets are now fully impregnated with their mother's scent and can recognize her unique grunt. They are ready to be introduced to the other members of the herd and join the common nursery. Tonight, the fox cubs will take their first hunting lesson. Up to now, they've always refused to venture outside. For a few days now, though, the vixen has been spacing out their meals to encourage them to follow her. Hunting lesson number 1: overcome your fears. Hunting lesson number 2: don't be afraid to follow Mom. Lesson number 3: watch her closely and try to imitate her. And finally, learn how to mouse leap. In other words, learn to smell, pinpoint, and pounce on a prey by surprise at the last second. It's time to put their training into practice. The exam was passed with flying colors. The mother must now convince the shyer ones to follow the example. In a litter, cubs don't always grow at the same speed. Often, there is a stronger and smarter one that'll eventually spur the others on. But there's no rush. They have until the fall to perfect their technique. As the days pass, the babies grow, gain strength, and change appearance. They have a few weeks left to complete their training before they can fly solo. In less than 2 months, the owlets have perfectly succeeded in their transformation. They're almost adult size, weighing 500 grams with a wingspan that can reach 1 meter. But before you can beat your wings, you have to learn how to spread them out. The oldest ones are already equipped to fly. But the youngest one will have to wait until all its down disappears before it can fully practice flying. A few more days are necessary for the youngest to loosen its limbs and develop muscle. At the beginning of summer, the young animals will experience their first storm. Those who live under a shelter don't care about all that rain. But there are others who don't mind either. The rain is coming down harder. the rabbit kittens are in danger. Living underground can sometimes be inconvenient. The burrow can rapidly turn into a death trap. Time is running short. They risk drowning. Every year, half the kittens disappear with the floods. The doe comes and checks that no kitten has been trapped. They found a new shelter a few meters away. Slowly, the countryside is warming up. The days are getting longer. Summer is settling in. The last broods will only have a few weeks to grow and become self-sufficient. For those already on the road to independence, the time has come to be weaned and to socialize in order to be ready to discover the world. Among the wild boars, the sows are gathering their respective broods to form a kind of nursery. This pond is an ideal spot to meet and get rid of parasites. The piglets go there to cool off and make first contact with the other members of the clan. Like the adults, they just love to wade in the mud. They also learn to dig their snout in, to dislodge the larvae or worms they relish. Throughout the socializing period, their mother will growl ceaselessly so as to stay constantly in contact with her young. All the piglets need to do is imitate the adults. From now on, they will have to accept making do without their mother and get used to the community nursery. After having escaped the flooding, now a sudden earthquake is threatening the kittens' lives. They're only a month old, barely weaned, and they run the risk of being buried alive. This time, to save their pelts, they decide to join the large warren and mingle with the rest of the colony earlier than planned. they will still be able to rely on their mother for another 4 or 5 weeks, until she gives birth again. At 2 months old, the fox cubs are almost weaned. Over the days, the boldest ones have gained in confidence. This is the time of frenzied games and insouciance. But it is also a time of recklessness. Although this escapade holds the promise of amazing discoveries, it could also turn into a nightmare. By instinct, they've perceived a threat. But they are trapped in a dead end. This gallery is the only escape route from the bird of prey. Providing they can find the way out. Luckily, it was just a dice snake, as inoffensive and cowardly as they are. The cubs are safe and sound. They'll be fully independent around the age of 6 months. In the meantime, there's nothing like the comfort and protection of a mother. Whatever the species, the day will come when you have to stand on your own. At barely 2.5 months, following intensive practice, it's time for the young owls to leap into the unknown. And thus, once again in our countryside, many devoted parents have fulfilled their mission.